Hello, shalom, welcome back to another video on my channel in בת-שבע's mind, בראש של בת-שבע, and today I'm so excited. I just can't hide it because at last I got my English version of Sha'ar Habitachon, Gate of Trust, and today we can finally study properly without me stammering so much. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Let's get right into it. Thanks for joining me for today's study. So, last time we were talking about the alchemist. And after I closed the camera and I went on with my day, I was wondering, what the heck? Sorry, pardon my French. Why an alchemist of all, of all professions in the world? Why did Rabbeinu Bachya ibn Paquda choose an alchemist? And then I remembered that this book was written about 1,000 years ago, and I assume that 1,000 years ago, alchemists were quite common. I'm not sure they were very successful, and they might have been charlatans, but I guess at the time when Rabbeinu Bachya wrote this book and he spoke about an alchemist and everything that an alchemist does or doesn't do and comparing it to a person who worships Hashem, I guess it just made sense to people who lived 1,000 years ago, and that's why he used an alchemist. Now, I am sorry I have to close the door here because there's noise coming from upstairs. And at the end of today's study, I will give you a tip, which I love, which is true alchemy of what you can do with an old stale challah left over from Shabbat that will make it into pure gold. Last time, we learned that there are 10 differences between an alchemist and Hashem's worshippers, which make Hashem's worshippers, or the people who trust Hashem, they give them an advantage on an alchemist. And last week we learned 5 of them, and now we are going to difference number 6. So, והשישי, שבעל הכימיה אינו בטוח מהחולאים והמדווים שמערבבים עליו שמחתו בעושרו, ואינם מניחים אותו ליהנות ממה שיש לו, ולא להתענג במה שהשיגה ידו. The sixth manner in which a person who has bitachon is superior to the alchemist is not protected from sickness and disease, which disturbs his contentment with his wealth and prevent him from deriving benefit from his possessions. Similarly, they stop the alchemist from enjoying the wealth that he has amassed as a result of his toil. והבוטח בהשם בטוח מן המדווים והחולאים, אלא על דרך הכפרה או על דרך התמורה, כמו שכתוב, ויעפו נערים ויגעו ובחורים קשו ייכשלו. ואמר, וקובע השם יחליפו כוח. ואמר, כי זרועות רשעים תשברנה, וסומך צדיקים השם. Conversely, a person who trusts in Hashem is protected from disease and sickness, except for disease and sickness that he is subject to as a means of atonement, or to increase his reward in the next world, as it is written in the book of Isaiah, now youth shall become tired and weary, and young men shall stumble. In the following verse, it says, which the same also in Isaiah, but those who put their hope in the Lord shall renew their vigor. And as it says in the verse in Tehillim, for the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord supports the righteous. These verses are quoted as proof that while even young and strong people may become weak from illness and the like, the righteous and those who rely on Hashem remain strong. Now this could be a little difficult to understand. I mean, what's the difference between the alchemist who has the flu and the person who trusts Hashem who has the flu? They both have the flu. But the difference is that an alchemist has a great worry when he has the flu because he can't work, he can't enjoy his wealth. He might spend it all on doctors and everything. And it causes him a great strain in his life. Whereas a person who has, I don't want to use the atonement or increase his reward in the next world phrases so much because, well, we are not Hashem's bookkeepers. And I don't want people to go and, if you have the flu and you start saying, oh, it's because I did this wrong or because I did that wrong, or maybe it's to increase my olam haba. What I would, as a modern person, would like to take from this phrase, and I'm not changing its meaning, it's just that the way of thinking here is a bit too direct, and we don't live that way, is that we believe that things from Hashem come to us as they should be. It means if the alchemist has the flu, he'll say, oh no, I've got the flu, I can't work, I have to spend all my gold, who knows what will happen. And a person who, with trust in Hashem, who has the flu, he can think that in atonement or for his olam haba, but all he does really, really know is that it's the way it's supposed to be. That Hashem intended for us to have the flu at this point of time. And so we have complete trust in the process. We don't lose faith in ourselves, in our jobs, in anything when we have, I'm just using the flu as an example, obviously any other ailment, and B'ezrat Hashem, should all Cholei Amcha Yisrael be healthy and wealthy and well. But when we do have an ailment, we know it's from Hashem and it's the way it's supposed to be. So we're not concerned and worried. I mean, we obviously want to be better, but just the fact that we got the ailment does not mean anything bad for us. Do you see what I mean here? Do you get my gist? And, we do know there have been many modern experiences. No, just a second, lost the word, ran away, going to chase it. Modern experiments that showed that people of faith in an upper power have better health in the long run and also recover faster than people of no faith. So that was the sixth advantage a worshipper of Hashem has on an alchemist. Now the seventh. והשביעי, שבעל הקימיה אפשר שלא יגיע אל מזונו במה שיש אצלו מן הזהב והכסף, מפני שלא יהיה האוכל נמצא בעירו בקצת העיתים, כמה שנאמר כספם בחוצות ישליכו, ואמר גם כספם גם זהבם לא יוכל להצילם. The seventh manner in which a person who has bitachon is superior to the alchemist. There is a possibility that the alchemist will not be able to use his gold and silver to obtain his food, because food might not be accessible in his city at certain times. As it says in Yechezkel, they will cast their silver into the streets. Similarly, it says in Tzfanya, neither their silver nor their gold will be able to save them. I mean, if the city is under siege, if there is a famine, you might have all the gold in the world and still not have enough food. והבוטח בהשם לא ייבצר ממנו מזונו בכל עת ובכל מקום עד סוף ימיו, כמו שנאמר, ברעב פתחה ממוות. ואמר, השם רואי לא יחסר, ואמר, לא יבושו בעת רעה, ובימי רעבון ישבעו. Conversely, a person who trusts in Hashem will not lack food at any time or place until the end of his days. As it says in Eov, in famine he redeemed you from death, and as it says in Tehillim, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. Similarly, it says again in Tehillim, they will not be ashamed in time of calamity, and in days of famine they will be satisfied. Now, if any of you come and say, oh, but what about the Holocaust? What about the sieges that the Romans did on Jerusalem? Or whatever. Any time in our history when people did go around hungry. I mean, the book of Ruth, it starts with a great famine in Israel. Also in Sefer Bereshit we have a famine, which is why Yaakov and his sons go to Egypt. So what are we saying? That the person who trusts in Hashem is never hungry, even when there's a famine? That sounds like a contradiction. And to that, my reply is that there's a difference between an individual and the entire people or a group. Because sometimes, for Hashem's own calculations, the land of Israel deserves a famine. We've been told that if we don't keep the way of Torah and mitzvot, there will be hunger. We say it every day in the parashot of Kriyat Shema. Also the Holocaust, it wasn't cast upon Chaim Yankel. It was cast upon the entire people of Israel. But if you read individual stories, you can see that this person who got an extra apple that day or a slice of bread that day and managed and survived. So inside a situation which surrounds the entire people, you can find individuals who have their own solutions, or sometimes they don't because they are part of a whole. But in regular times, an individual who trusts Hashem is well taken care of. And now the eighth difference. והשמיני, שבעל הכימיה איננו מתעכב משום מקום, מיראתו שמא יתגלה סודו, והבוטח באלוקים בבטחה בארצו ובמנוחת נפש במקומו, כמו שכתוב בטח בהשם ועשה טוב, שכן ארץ וראה אמונה. ואמר, צדיקים ירשו ארץ וישכנו לעד עליה. The eighth manner in which a person who has bitachon is superior to the alchemist is that the alchemist is unable to remain in one place out of fear that his secret will be revealed. Conversely, a person who trusts in Hashem is secure living in his land and has peace of mind, living in the place in which he lives, as it is written, trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land, that's in Tehillim. Dwell in the land and be nourished by faith. Similarly, it says, again in Tehillim, the righteous will inherit the land and dwell forever in it. And this reminds me of a beautiful story I read not too long ago, and I'm sorry I can't remember the names. But in Yerushalayim, a long time ago, I assume about 90 to 100 years ago, there was a very famous bakery. And everybody got their baked goods from that bakery. And it was famous and the people were doing very well. And the family who owned the bakery, and they had employees. And it was a very, very well-known, famous bakery. And one day, one of the employees left and opened another bakery, a competitor, very close by, not in a different neighborhood or anything, on the same street to the first bakery. Now he opened a competition. And the children of the owner of the first bakery came to him and said, what will we do? So-and-so, he opened a competing bakery. What will we do? We might lose our parnassah. We might lose our customers. We might have to close our doors. What will we do? And you know what the owner of that bakery did? He went to his ex-employee and said, "Hello, I heard that you've opened a new bakery. I wish you luck. And I would like to give you several tips about how your bread will come out better, baking times, amounts of water, whatever, and cakes and pretzels and whatever." And he sat there and he gave him good advice for his own bakery to succeed. The competing bakery. Can you imagine any competitor that you know going to his competition and giving them advice on how to succeed? And before you think, oh no, well, it was probably bad advice. No, it was excellent advice. And then the sons of the baker came to him and said, "What are you doing? Isn't it enough that he opened a competing business? He has to be as successful as us. What do you want to happen to our bakery?" And he told them, Hashem is the true provider, not the bakery. I can bake half as much and get the same parnassah because it is all from Hashem. Whereas now that we have another bakery, I might have a little less work. I'll have more time to learn Torah. I might be able to sleep a bit longer. I might have a bit more of a rest, time for my family. I think it's an excellent thing. Now I have less work and the same parnassah. And that's the exact view that we learn about in Sha'ar Habitachon. An alchemist, which is the 9th difference that we just learned, he can't stay in one place. What if he stays there and someone opens a competing alchemy business opposite him? He'll be worried that he won't have his parnassah. Whereas a person who really truly trusts Hashem knows that everything he gets and gains is from Hashem. And even if there were 10 more bakeries on that street, he doesn't need to close down shop and move to the other side of the city or to a different city or to a different country, because everything he has is from Hashem and Hashem can provide for him wherever he is. And that was such a beautiful story. But you know, most of us are not like these people. Oh, okay, not most of us. Everybody's like that person. I'm not like that person. But when I hear stories like that, it is what I strive to be. It is, you know, if I become 0.1% more faithful after hearing a story like this and after studying Sha'ar Habitachon, it's my gain. And now, the 10th difference. והעשירי, שבעל הכימיה, אם יוודא עניינו תהיה סיבת מותו, מפני שמה שהוא משתדל וטורח בו, הפך הנהגת העולם, ומנהיג הכל ישליט עליו מי שימיתהו, כשאינו יודע להעלים את סודו. והבוטח בהשם, כאשר יוודא ביטחונו, יגדל בעיני הבריות, ויכבדו בני אדם, ויתברכו בקרבתו ובראייתו. ויהיה גורם לתקנת עירו ולדחות הפגעים מעל אנשי מקומו. כמו שכתוב, וצדיק יסוד עולם, וכעניין לוט בצוער. So, the 10th and last manner in which a person who has bitachon is superior to the alchemist. If the secret cause of the alchemist's wealth becomes known to others, you know, apparently, I don't know, I've never met an alchemist, and maybe that's why they keep themselves a secret. If the secret cause of the alchemist's wealth becomes known to others, it will be the cause of his death, because his efforts and labor are contrary to the rules of nature. I mean, obviously, well, you know, we call it the laws of physics. Something which isn't gold cannot become gold. Something that isn't silver cannot become silver. So an alchemist works in ways which are against nature, against chemistry, against physics, whatever. Therefore, Hashem, who controls everything, will cause a ruler to rule over the alchemist and kill him if the alchemist is unable to conceal his secret. Conversely, a person who trusts in Hashem, when his trust in Hashem is publicly revealed, he will become greater in the eyes of the creations and people will honor him. Those people will be blessed due to their proximity to him or even the mere sight of him, and he will be the cause to improvements in his city. Additionally, the person who has bitachon will also push away harm from the people of his place of living. As it is written in Mishlei, the righteous is the foundation of the world. And as we see in the story of Lot and Sha'ar, in the city of Sha'ar, in the book of Bereshit. So, again, I haven't met any alchemists, but perhaps there have been. I mean, we do know that there is supernatural in this world, otherwise there's no Hashem. But obviously we just live our natural lives, we don't look for the supernatural. But suppose there was someone who could make gold out of silver, out of copper, out of anything which isn't gold. Hashem might have to get rid of him so secrets of this world are not exposed. Also, well, lehavdil, it's not exactly the same. But there are people, very, very great tzaddikim, who know certain secrets, who know certain Kabbalic spells, so to speak, that can actually cause things to happen in this world against natural order. But they don't go around selling it, and they don't go around just doing miracles, because the natural order of the world is usually, apart from very rare cases, the right way for the world to be. So, if an alchemist is discovered, it can be the cause of his death. And again, we're talking about 1,000 years ago, where apparently, I don't know if there were alchemists, but they were the talk of the neighborhood, I assume. You know, a great party topic. But a person who trusts in Hashem doesn't have to keep it a secret. Moreover, he has to not keep it a secret. The more public he makes it, the better the world is. Imagine, I don't know, we had a kind of light that became stronger the more faithful someone was. And we could see the amount of faith of someone. Whose light would be the brightest? Who will be the best friend to walk around in dark times? In a blackout? Who would you like? The biggest tzaddik with the largest faith and largest lamp, so to speak. So he will become greater in the eyes of creation, and people will honor him. And people will be blessed due to the proximity of him. I mean, that's just what Chassidut is all about. You tie your life with a great tzaddik in order for his enormous light bulb to shine on you, and for you to be a part of being in this light. And, you know, the more lights, the better you can see. And the more, I mean, even if it's not a real light, it's just faith in Hashem. The more faith in Hashem you have around you, the more faith in Hashem you will receive. And that will help you as a person grow. So, I think we'll end today's shiur with this. And as I promised, real alchemy. I'm not going to show you today because I do not have leftover challah from this Shabbos, but it's really something that you can do by yourselves just based on what I tell you. There is nothing real to show here. You take old challah, you can take new, but that's just a waste. Any leftover challah you have, and you slice it, and you put the slices on a baking tray flat, as close as possible to each other. Then you take some pizza sauce or whatever tomato sauce you like. It can be homemade, it can be bought, and you spread it evenly on all the slices of challah. And then you put on yellow cheese. And then you put on any pizza toppings that you like. You heat up your oven to 200 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. You'll have to look it up. And I guess it's like 450, but I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it. And you bake it for about 10 to 12 minutes until the cheese is melted and golden, and until the edges of the challah become crispy. I call it crazy pizza because it's weirdly shaped, but my children love it and eat it, and that's the greatest test of all. I mean, if your children don't eat it, don't bother. And that's a delicious idea which we often have for Sunday lunch, since that's the time to use your leftover challah or supper. I hope you liked today's study. I hope you'll be here again next week. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Give me a like to today's study. Write a comment, ask a question if you need to. And I would love to see you next week in our next study. And if you'd like to join us for our Hebrew content, it's on Mondays at 6 o'clock. There's Chavrutanya. Wednesdays, lifestyle content. Fridays, my Shabbat table. And Sundays, Sha'ar Habitachon again. And until next time, besorot tovot to all of Am Yisrael.